wish to add to your memorandum?
Yes, Your Honor. I want the record to reflect this time that the psychological report of Dr. Brahms and the letter from psychologist and county chairman have been filed under seal for purposes of strict record. You mentioned the fact that you reviewed my sentencing memorandum, which is extensive here. I believe the psychological reports actually go to the heart of this particular case. I've read the pre-sentence investigation. It is complete and accurate. As I reviewed it here, I believe my sentencing memorandum shows that the presumption of prison can be rebutted in this particular case upon the facts of this case. I think in the psychological reports it has been rebutted. We asked this court to place my client on community control on the conditions that were recommended by the two psychologists in this particular case. This case pits punishment retribution against mental health. I think under this circumstance, this case, mental health should prevail. Thank you.
Thank you. Matt, state law.
Thank you, Your Honor. We have reviewed the PSI. We find it to be accurate and complete. We were aware that Ms. Lambert had no prior criminal record until this point. We have reviewed that sentencing memorandum as well, Your Honor. We would disagree that community control would be the appropriate sanction in this particular matter. Looking at some of those factors very briefly, including the accusations that there was a relationship with the victim, facilitating the offense, committing the offense for hire itself, 6 and 7 in particular, that Mr. Casey points out, moving to subsection C, arguing that it seemed to be the victim's fault, given the domestic situation. We do not believe that is accurate at all. That she was under strong provocation. She has shown no remorse throughout the entire incident, throughout the entire case, throughout the entire trial. And an actual sentencing investigation reflects the same thing. We did offer Your Honor prior to trial a 4-year prison term. At this point, we're leaving any sentencing to the discretion of this court. We also did have an impact statement, Your Honor.
Let's proceed with those then.
Your Honor, my name is Kellie Cooke. This is very fascinating. Writing this impact statement is one of the most difficult things I've ever done. To relay the extremely deep and long-lasting effects this has had on our family is almost impossible. We are blessed to be the parents of a 20-month-old boy, as well as 3 girls ages 5, 14, and 16. So we hope the court realizes this, that there is only one victim. The 2 oldest children had a relationship with this defendant, and the knowledge that she wanted to take their mother's life, as well as her stepfather's, has done irreparable damage. Why, some may ask? To us, fear used to be being a little kid and hearing stories about the boogeyman, or the monsters under your bed. Fear was getting shaky or crying because you'd gotten too close to the edge. Fear was that feeling in your stomach was the sirens get on the street just after love and left your house. Fear was the sound of silence when you lost sight of your young child in the department store. Fear was also knowing something around here about you getting sick from cancers, knowing that the odds were stacked against you. All these things and many more were the things that we used to fear. On July 28, 2015, we got a new fear. The Wake County Sheriff's Department contacted me and wanted me to meet immediately. They couldn't say much over the phone except for Brandon was okay and Tara was too. We tried to figure out what could have happened. I remember tearing up and coming very close to crying and hearing something bad happened to the girl's father or to their stepmother. Time went by and the disturbing news was broken to me. The person I had just shed a tear for just hours before wanted me and anyone else in her way killed, murdered. Demon wanted to take innocent children's mommy away from me. To leave 2 children to grow up without one. The love and support of your mother. Not to mention to take the most important part of my 2 little girls' lives away from them too. Punishing children that had never done any wrong to this horrible person. When we told our doctors the unbelievable news of what Tara had done, her reaction was disheartening. My oldest daughter, Sonny, stated, Dad always told us that Tara would never do anything to hurt us, but that's the one thing that she could do to hurt us the most. Can you imagine? It must have been going through her mind. That loss of innocence can never be restored. Nor can there make sense of security with the family. She has lost trust. We don't know how to help her get healed. Or know if we can ever help return to our God-given right to feel safe in our home. That day changed our family forever. That day 2 people did die. The 2 that died were the people that we used to be. The ones that thought if you do good in life, then people would do good to you. We quickly came to realize that that's not the case. Now in our home, the hiding behind the door to scare someone isn't funny or welcome. Hiding in the dark behind the car for you to laugh when you scare someone is forbidden. Why? Because now we're carrying loaded guns, taking training, and hits to our surroundings, and planning our very next move. Is it fair to have to teach children how to handle guns and other means of protection? That it's not a choice anymore? That the stranger that is trying to help you in the store may be the very one hired to take your life? How it has changed me from a person that has never judged anyone for the way that someone dresses or looks or presents themselves, and caused me to judge and stereotype someone that fits the part of a killer. Every car door, every bar, every single sound puts us on edge in our own home. We no longer feel safe doing everyday things we took for granted before. We find ourselves looking over our shoulders constantly. Who is in the car parked next to us? Why is the car following us? Are our children safe to ride home with us? Can we leave our teenagers at home by themselves? Imagine the fear we live with daily. We constantly worry if today is the day that Tara finally succeeds. This is how we now function. There is no amount of time, therapy, or repentance that can fix this damage. On paper, Tara Jerry Lambert is a great person, degrees, good job, active in the community, and a clean record. That is to poor strangers that feel they know somebody because they've done a background check. The real Tara Lambert lives, or which we personally know better than most, doesn't have or leave a paper trail. She stabbed you with a smile on her face, so you don't know where it came from. I've endured countless harassments from Tara in the last year and a half, all over her inability to control the relationship and visitation between Tara's husband and his and my daughters. She filed false police reports accusing us of terrible things. We claimed we had harassed and threatened her when nothing could have been further from the truth. We could go on. We have always said Tara was capable of evil acts, and now everyone can see her for what she is, an evil, manipulating, conniving, and a self-absorbed human being. We are so grateful for Jenny Chu, the person who decided to intervene with the plan that this evil person tried to carry out. Jenny is a hero, a saint, and now not only a friend, but a part of our family. Because of Jenny, we woke up and kissed our kids to death. So our girls go to school. Watched the 2 husbands play their soccer games and play ball with the little man. They won't live another day to see me grow up and be happy and successful. Sadly, our hero must also know the word fear. The fear that she is also now a target for this careless individual. Tara continues to put the blame on someone else for her own actions. She has always played the role of the victim. Tara Lambert is cold-hearted with a total disregard for the human mind. We definitely seen this at the trial, when her biggest concern was the fate of her purse as she was being taken into custody. Her lawyer, or now doctor, clearly stated under oath that Tara is living in a fantasy land and that she doesn't fit into normal society. If that's the case, Your Honor, then what's the right thing to do to let her out so she can live with you? Let's remember, she may not have been found guilty of both charges, but she made it very clear that she wanted more than one person murdered if they were there. Tara needs to pay for her crime to its fullest penalty and finally be held accountable for her actions. Our families, friends, and community have suffered long enough over Ms. Lambert. Please let the healing begin. It's going to take a very long time. Tara is nothing but a bully, and it's time to take a stand against people like this. Please do not show her compassion or consideration, as she has none for others. Please do not use the saying, first-time offender. She's offended many, many times and done it often, but she's never been caught. Finally, I would like to thank the men and women of the Pickaway County Sheriff's Department, the Sheriff's Office, Sauter County Sheriff's Office, the Franklin County Sheriff's Office, the Pickaway Victims Advocates Office, as well as the Prosecution Office, both Sauter and Pickaway. Their hard work and dedication has meant the world to us and our family. I cannot say enough about their commitment to this case and keeping it safe. Thank you for your time and consideration. Kellie Cooke, Sean Cooke.
Ms. Lambert, is there anything you wish to say on your own behalf? Well, court reviewed.
Your Honor, she would like to make
All she wants to make a statement. Go ahead.
Your Honor, I do accept the decision of the jury. Dr. Brahms has enlightened me that I truly suffer from mental illnesses. Ms. Chamberlain's counseling has helped me tremendously. I reflected a great deal in order to place myself in Kellie and her family's frame of mind, and I am beyond deeply remorseful for the pain that my actions have caused them. Kellie, Sean, and your kids, I am truly sorry for the harm that my actions have caused. I never intended for the situation to get so out of control, but it did, and I do accept full responsibility for it. I've used every resource available to me to get mental and spiritual counseling in the hope that I could find a way to forgive myself. But even more, I pray each day that by some miracle of God in the future, your family can forgive me for my ugliest, heinous, hateful acts. But I do realize that I should have addressed these mental health issues sooner, and had I done so, these unfortunate circumstances totally within my control would not have occurred. If I could go back to the future, if I had a time machine, I would go back in time and this obviously would have never happened. But I can't. I can only move forward and prove that I'm not the monster portrayed in this trial. I totally underestimated the extent of my mental health issues and the impact that they would cause on those around me. Although I have and had started counseling and was seeing progress, I allowed my emotions to get to the better of me and became caught up in a situation that soon spiraled out of control. I do not ever again want to be in this position where my mental issues could cause another person harm, and I am willing to work while in confinement if deemed necessary, and after my release on my mental health issues with total commitment to becoming healthy. I am not any longer a threat to Kellie Cooke or her family with proper counseling and proper medication. If I were a threat, it no longer exists. I can be a productive citizen once again. My life, even without prison, will never be the same. The slings and arrows of adverse national publicity have seen that. I must live with the stigma that I created, and I apologize to my husband, Brand, and to my own family for the hardships that they have endured and will endure because of my actions. While the jury was told not to consider mercy, I hope that this court can consider it. I do humbly request that this honorable court to carefully weigh and consider Dr. Brahms' report and the letter to you from Connie Chamberlain. They agree, and I fear that I will not receive proper mental health treatment while in prison. Thank you.
Well, the court has considered the record, the oral statements, the victim impact statement, the pre-sentence report, as well as the principles and purposes of sentencing under RC Revised Code Section 292911. The court has balanced the seriousness of recidivism factors under RC 292912. It finds that the presumption of prison has not been overcome by the defendant. In large part, much of the defense has been based upon the mental health condition, which is a term that's been used continuously throughout this proceeding. And the mental health condition of the defendant is based upon the report of Dr. Brahms, which the court obviously has reviewed several times. before trial as well as during trial and after trial. And there's parts of the report that this court finds more telling than other parts, but one part that wasn't brought out extensively at the trial was the fact that in administering a test, on page 13 of the report, Ms. Lambert was administered a personality assessment inventory, or PAI. This is a 344-item self-administered supervised test of psychological and interpersonal functioning, and is well accepted in forensic evaluations. And the results of that test, Ms. Lambert, were that she couldn't rely on because she didn't find you credible. She thought that you were exaggerating. She says that test results indicate that Ms. Lambert's test-taking approach was atypical, and as a result may exaggerate, invalidate the clinical scale interpretations. Simply stated, she presented as likely either being incredibly psychiatrically fragile and or presenting herself in a manner which would indicate psychiatric disturbance which may be exaggerated. Thus, her test results need to be very carefully interpreted and are likely invalid. That's your own profession. To me, it says you're trying to put a scam on her. I think you just try to be polling the jury in this county and it didn't work. You go back to this report and this whole thing, you say out of control. Well, your past indicates to me that you've been out of control since the 8th grade. Now, I know she took a shot with Dr. Brahms, your mother, in terms of her parenting or lack of parenting skills, but I did agree with Dr. Brahms on that part when she said you were allowed to live with your boyfriend in the 8th grade. You're out of control. This is probably the first time in your life, now that you're 33 years of age, you've come in front of somebody who's taking control or will take control of your life and say, no, you're not going to do that. Had that done back when you were in the 8th grade, maybe you wouldn't be standing here today. That's between you and your mother. But the old saying about spare the rod, spoil the child, has come home to roost. And as a result of that, you're going to prison. Be the order of the court. Ms. Lambert, keep in mind as well, because this is found in the first degree, it's the most serious offense short of murder in the state of Ohio. And honestly, the only thing standing between you and conviction for the same is the fact that you were dealing with an undercover officer as opposed to a true professional hitman. And I do think that Detective Emmert, Pickaway County Sheriff's Office, did an excellent job in the way they handled this matter from the get-go. There was no entrapment. I sat through and listened to that. The jury didn't buy it. They were out less than an hour. So,
I tried not to go.
Well, you tried not to go, but you were there. Nobody forced you, ma'am.
I had thousands of dollars and I showed up with $100.
Well, I heard all that. The jury heard it all. They didn't buy it. So, be the order of the court. Once you serve your prison sentence, you are subject to mandatory post-release control for 5 years. That's similar to what we used to call parole in Ohio, meaning you will be under the supervision of the High Department of Rehabilitation and Corrections during that 5-year period. There will be rules and regulations concerning your conduct. You'll have a parole officer monitoring your conduct. If you violate the rules and regulations and don't do what they tell you to do and go where they tell you to go and do what they tell you to do, then you're looking at going back to prison for each violation for 9 months. Total violations can equal 1/2 the original sentence I gave you here this morning, unless one of the violations is a new felony conviction. If you were to be convicted of a new felony while in that 5-year period post-release control, you could be made to return to prison under this case to serve the greater of 1 year or time remaining on post-release control, which could be up to 5 years. And by law, that has to be served consecutive. That means back-to-back with any sentence you receive because of that new felony conviction while on post-release control. Do you understand post-release control? There's also a right, I'm sure Mr. King will explain to you, you have to appeal your conviction in this case. Any appeal you wish to take, a notice of appeal has to be filed within 30 days from the date of this sentence. Be the order of the court, Ms. Lambert, for this offense that you stand committed to Marysville Reformatory for Women for a period of 7 years. Pay the court costs for which execution is hereby awarded. You also pay a fine of $10,000. If any appeal is filed, the court this time will set an appeal bond of $500,000 plus a recognizance bond with the condition you stay away from the victims and you wear an ankle monitor. You'll be credited any time served in the county jail with respect to this offense. Go ahead.
All rise.